Alright guys, it is time. It is time to declutter my foundations. I'm grabbing for the same exact ones. I have more foundations that are actually than are in this particular drawer. I have other ones that are kind of all over the room. I have some that I know that I'm already going to declutter, so I've set them aside, but it's time for them to go. I've done reviews on them. I've done my mid-year review, so I don't really need to talk about them anymore. But again, I reach for the same ones. Two of these in here are very old and they need to go anyway. Not that I don't like them, it's just time for them to go. And then we're also going to go through concealers. I don't have a ton, but again, I have more that are not even in here, so it's also time for them to go. And there are a couple in here that need to go. Sorry for the lighting. Anyway, we're gonna get set up, we're gonna swatch everything, I'm gonna do mini reviews on all this stuff, and then we're gonna do the declutter on the stuff that I know that I want to get rid of. All right, let's start off with concealers. There isn't a crap ton that I want to get rid of here. Definitely more in the foundations, but there are some that are gonna go. Let's go ahead and start off with the color correctors that I have. I only have these 5, and a couple of these are gonna leave. So the first one that I have is the Faux Filter Color Corrector from Huda Beauty. This one is in the shade Pink Palmello. Now, I'm pretty sure that this is the lightest shade that they have, but I think it looks like the cap. It's just like orange. And correct me if I'm wrong that this is the lightest shade, but this is not a light enough shade for someone of my fair complexion. It just looks too tinted on me and too orange, and then I'm working to like cover it up with a concealer to try and like lighten this. Like the Essence and the Cali Ray, like those are the best colored shades on me for just my fair skin, especially under the under eye, which is something like I want to lighten and not deepen. So this is not a good color corrector for me. I think the formula is actually fine. I think the concealer sits on top of it nicely, and it's the reason that I held onto it and like didn't immediately get rid of it. But I got it because a lot of people had talked about it, and I thought it would work for me, but it just doesn't. It's just not a good shade. So I think because it's like quite pigmented, like it definitely conceals the blueness under the under eyes. Like I don't think it's bad or anything. It's just not a good shade. The NYX Pro Fix sticks, these are good. I think in the color correcting shades, I did not like it like under the eyes for the concealer shade because it was way too thick of a formula. Just like something like this that's much creamier and thicker is just not something that I think I can lay a concealer on top of and it look good. And this is definitely not a shade I would just like leave on its own. It's, you know, too pink. It's kind of like obvious, but see the difference? This is not a good shade for my under eye personally. This shade right here, like really great. I think though the reason that I've held on to this one and I let go of the concealer shade was specifically because I use this for like inner corner brightening where I get very blue. So this is definitely an inner corner stick for me. Again, I don't think this is necessarily like the exact same formula as like the concealer shade. I think the concealer one was just a little bit thicker than this one was. I can still use this under the under eyes. I just really like it for inner corner brightening where I very specifically miss concealer a lot of times, especially because I do my eyeshadow first, that like I like to go in with this if I'm catching it and I'm like really blue, because this is super easy to like get in the inner corner and then use a brush and buff it out. So I am going to hold on to this one. The one from Cali Ray is my absolute favorite. Like this is the one and only, if I could never have another color corrector again, this was the one I'd keep. It's the Hideaway Brightening and Hydrating Under Eye Serum Concealer in the shade Dawn, and this was sold out for a while. I mean, I can see why. Like this is just a super creamy, very thin, very serum-y under eye brightener, but like also it does a really good job neutralizing the blue, and you can lay anything on top of it. It's just hydrating enough and thin enough that a concealer on top of it does a really good job. So that's just the kind of formula that I need and the shade that I need under my under eyes. Definitely holding on to this one. And then this one from Essence is a fairly new release, the Correct and Conceal Under Eye Brightening Concealer in the shade Light. This is actually like a really decent shade, darker than the Cali Ray, but it does work. The thing is, it just doesn't provide as much coverage as the Cali Ray for whatever reason. Like it doesn't neutralize quite as good, and so I definitely have to put a concealer on top of this, where the Cali Ray, I could almost wear it on its own. Like that's how good the Cali Ray is for me. This one though, it's new and it does do a decent job. I could see myself actually getting rid of this at some point, like not holding on to it forever, especially because this is all I need and it's honestly plenty of product, and I don't color correct like that often. So, you know, this is enough product for me, but this is still good. Like, it's a decent option. It's just not a standalone product the way that I feel like the KARIM is. So I'm gonna hold on to that one. And the Kosas one, the Revealer Extra Bright Serum Powered Color Corrector in the shade Magic, which is their lightest shade, is also a new release this year. I've kept it in the box because I knew I was gonna pass this along. It's a really good shade. The problem is it is too thick for me. The Kosas Revealer Concealer, also too thick. And everyone's had really good luck with it, and I've tried it in multiple shades at different times in different ways. Like, I've repurchased it thinking it was just me, but it's not. It's pretty full coverage, but it's honestly too thick of a formula. I don't think it's drying or anything. It's very hydrating, but do you see how much more like full coverage that is than like the KARIM, which is way more like serum-like and thin? So I can't put anything on top of this because then it just looks too thick. The problem is this just sinks into my fine lines. That's what it does. Anything like super hydrating like this will just sink into my fine lines. I shouldn't say hydrating, but thick and hydrating. Something that's definitely a little bit more of a thick texture. So this one I am going to pass along. These are my more high-end and luxury concealers. You know, I used to have a huge concealer collection, just like my foundations. Like, any ones that launched, I used to pick up. It didn't matter like what they were. I wanted to test them. But in the past year and a half, 2 years, I have really pared this down because I struggle with concealers working for me under the under eyes. It's just not something that I've been able to test a bunch of different formulas. They're just not working for me. And even some of these, I know I'm gonna get rid of because they just don't work for me that great. The Natasha Denona, you know, it works for a lot of people. It is a really good formula. It just has this like velvetyness about it. This one is a little bit thick though. You know, it settles in. It's not a drying formula. It's very hydrating. It's definitely something that I could see, and I think a lot of people do this, is wear it as like an all over product, like all over your face, not just your under eyes. But for me, because it's so darn thick, it settles in. It's great coverage. It's very hydrating, but it settles. It just wants to creep right into my fine lines. A lot of things that are like thicker consistencies will do that for me. So it's not a concealer that I reach for a lot. I love how cool toned this is, by the way, in N3. I like to keep this as a point of reference. It's not bad, and it's a good point of reference because it is so popular. And I've been loving more Natasha Denona like base products lately. So I'm gonna hold on to that one. This one from Givenchy is the Skin Caring Concealer. This one is in the shade N120. I've never loved this shade on me. It's like supposed to be neutral, but it's kind of yellow, but it's been a decent formula for me. I just can't use a lot of this product because it's another one that can sink in if I use too much. It's a lot thinner than the one from Natasha, but it's not as hydrating. So maybe that's kind of what it is. It just like can tend to look a little bit dry and heavy if I wear too much, even though it's the Skin Caring Concealer. I'm telling you, my under eyes are just temperamental, but it does work in very, very small amounts. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that this is a bad concealer by any means. I definitely think that I held onto it because it's one that I like over a lot of other ones and gives me a lot less trouble. It's just not 100% non-problematic, but still gonna hold on to that one. This one definitely runs yellow. The one from CL, this is the Conceal and Protect with SPF 50 concealer in the shade EF04N. This is supposed to be neutral, and maybe it is, but it's just like, it's like yellow and kind of off. It's definitely an undertone thing, just very, very yellow. This is a very, very full coverage concealer, and I like that it has SPF. The shade has never been good. The thing is, I just can't use a lot of this product. It's full coverage, so I already have to be careful because I like something that's like light to medium coverage anyway. And if it's too drying, it's so noticeable on my under eyes. And so originally when I bought it, it was actually working really well for me, but then the drier my under eyes got, the less it was working. I know that I'm not getting the kind of use out of it that I was when I first got it. So, I mean, that's pretty much what it boils down to. It's just, it's not a concealer kind that I'm reaching for anymore. It's just too full coverage and maybe a little bit too matte for me. The idea of it is nice and having SPF and all that, but no, I'm gonna pass that one along. long. Plus it's always been a terrible shade match. This one from Refi is a really cool tone one. It's their concealer in the shade 04. I'm on the fence about this one because this is a very full coverage concealer also. But if I use like just one dot of this, it does a really good job. It's a thicker formula though. That's kind of why I have to be careful. It's a brightening shade for me in 04 and very, very cool toned. So it's like one of the best like cool tone concealers that I have. I think for now I'm gonna hold on to this because this is another full coverage one like CL, and I don't have a ton of full coverage ones. Like I told you, I am much more into light to medium coverage concealers, not even buildable. Like I just don't need a lot of coverage under the under eyes. So I think I'm gonna hold on to this one because it's less problematic than say like the CL, for example. So I'll hold on to this one because I really like the shade, but I also like the formula, and I can definitely make it work if I'm just using a single dot. All right, this one from Say, surprisingly, I did like the slip tint concealer in the shade 3. This was one that probably landed in like one of my favorites probably last year. The shade has never been good. This one, did I tell you what shade? 3. It's a decent depth, but it's maybe a little bit on the warm side, especially on my under eyes. I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna hold on to this one because I definitely had a moment where I really enjoyed this. I think it ended up kind of creeping in because it's a thicker formula, that very hydrating, like thicker formula. And honestly, I want hydrating and thin. That's just what I want. I haven't been reaching for it in a hot minute. It's kind of a tackier formula, which it makes it a little bit tricky because again, those tackier formulas, they tend to just sink into places I don't want them to sink into. It's gonna come down to this one and then the Charlotte Tilbury one, the Beautiful Skin Radiant Concealer in the shade 4 Fair, because at one point this was also like a really favorite concealer of mine, but partially it was because it was really radiant and thin, but again, it's kind of that hydrating feel where, and then it started to like sink in because it's not super duper thin, it's just thinner than the Say. Honestly, I think I'm gonna let the Say go. The color is better on the Charlotte Tilbury. I think it's a thinner formula than the one from Say. I think it sinks in a lot less. So I'm gonna hold on to that one and get rid of the Say. And then, I don't know if you can tell by my usage, but this one from Laura Mercier is one of my go-to concealers at the current moment, the Real Flawless Weightless Perfecting Concealer. Oh, hello. This one is in the shade 1C1. It's a nice cool tone shade, but it is a serum concealer. It is so freaking thin. I can go ham on the under eyes with this. I can lay that sucker all the way across and it doesn't do anything. It's not a whole lot of coverage either, but like it doesn't sink in, it doesn't look dry. You can see it kind of has like a glossier, more radiant finish to it, and it's just more hydrating, but like really thin. So thin is the name of the game. You can see I reach for this one quite a bit. It's probably my favorite concealer in my collection at the current moment, so that one definitely stays. This one from Westman Atelier is the Vital Skincare Concealer in the shade Atelier L2. This went into my worst of beauty for this year. The shade is wrong too. I think it's just too deep. I don't think it's neutral either. I think it has a bit of warmth to it, but it is full coverage and it is dry. So it looks dry under my under eyes and it's thick and it sinks in. So this is an absolute no. I'm sure there are people that this would work for if you don't have a lot of lines under your under eyes, if you're maybe a little bit younger, I don't know. If you just don't deal with the same stuff that I deal with. I kind of like equate my issues to just being in my 40s. But, you know, maybe that's not the case. It could happen to really anybody at any age. It just doesn't work for me. It's way too full coverage, way too dry. So that one I'm going to pass along. And it's such a shame because we all know what Westman Atelier cost. All right, this is the last of the concealers. This is all of my more affordable concealers. I have 2 of the Maybelline Fit Me's because they were sold in a pack, but I do not need 2. I already have too many concealers to be holding on to 2. So I'm gonna take this brand new one and I'm gonna go ahead and give it away to family, and I'll hold on to this one. I just recently repurchased this because I knew it to be a very thin formula, very light coverage, something that's even buildable, but more serum-like. It's the Fit Me Concealer in 010 Fair. So I have been reaching for this quite a bit since I repurchased it. It's what I can kind of handle handle right now. It's not a crap ton of coverage, but that's kind of what I need. I just need something very serum-like and lighter coverage. The other one I recently just picked up is the Maybelline Eraser. It's a thicker formula. Also, I pulled off the puffy on it, but also the puffy was like starting to come off anyway. It still works just fine. This is a little bit of a thicker concealer than the Fit Me. This is like a natural finish, and this is just a little bit more matte, but I like that this is a little bit more coverage. I feel like this one is a little yellow now that I'm looking at it. It's in the shade 115. I don't notice it under the under eyes. I kind of notice the shade being a little bit darker under the under eyes. Anyway, this is a more medium coverage concealer than the Maybelline Fit Me, but like one dot of this under the under eyes is absolutely spectacular. But that's it, just one dot, and that's all I can handle. Yeah, I wish they didn't have the puffy. Like, I wish this just came in a doe foot. That would be super nice, but I'm holding on to that one. And I'm actually holding on to the rest of these because I really enjoy them. My second favorite concealer right now is the L'Oreal True Match. Probably pretty obvious based on its usage too. It's the Radiant Serum Concealer. What a shocker. This one is in the shade Light C2, so another cool tone concealer. This one is a little bit more, I want to say like more medium coverage than the one from Laura Mercier, and as such it's thicker than the one from Laura Mercier, but it's still absolutely fabulous on the under eyes. It's one that I didn't realize like I liked so much when I got it. It took me a while to kind of warm up to it because I felt like it was thicker than a serum, and it is. I think it's like a slight bit thicker than I would expect, like something that calls itself a serum. Still fabulous, and my second favorite concealer right now. I mean, honestly, if you like took them all away, just made me pick, these are the three that I would pick, even though this one here from LYS has been one of my holy grails for a long time. These are my three new favorite concealers. Let's talk about the LYS. The Triple Fix Full Coverage Brightening Concealer. This one's an LN6. This shade is a little bit too deep for me. I don't know, I make it work. I just like this freaking concealer so much. I'll tolerate like a deeper shade, but it's been too dark for me, honestly, always. An LN6. This is not full coverage. It never has been. It's more like light, medium buildable, but it's more thin and lightweight of a formula. It's more like a serum concealer. So I have loved this. This is old. This is super old. I'm telling you, like this is several years old at this point, and it still smells fine. I'm holding on to it. I do not care. No breakouts have happened. No adverse reactions to using this. I keep this up on my filming station and I use it all the time. It's been beat out by the L'Oreal True Match and by Laura Mercier, but I had backups of this at one point. It was quite honestly one of my holy grails. I mean, it kind of still is, you know, the fact that it's like still here, I will not get rid of it even though it's old. Like this tells you, I know this is not full coverage. The thing is, like, I can build this up and I'm still okay. Like it won't look crazy heavy or dry under the under eyes or like sink in, even if I build this up with like multiple layers. So I'm holding on to this. Again, I told you I'm holding on to all of them. The Lavish Creamy Concealer from Moira Beauty is another really good one. This one's in the shade 150 Oatmeal. This shade is too deep for my under eyes, but again, it's kind of something that I will make work. I think it's even a little bit warm. I hope these lights don't wash it out because this is like peachy. That's very cool. This one is a little bit deep, but it's still kind of peachy, and where this one is like, I don't know, it's like a little yellowish. You know, this is another really good formula too for Moira Beauty. The only thing I don't love is like, it doesn't feel like there's a stopper in here. Not even a little bit. It's really weird. I do use this one quite a bit too. Honestly, I really enjoy this. Like there is absolutely nothing wrong with this concealer. I do like the other ones better. It's probably because the shades are better matched for me than this one. And I'm just thinking like if this shade matched me way more, I guarantee this would be a product that I would reach for more. It is creamy. It's more light, medium buildable coverage. It never looks dry. It's more of a like hydrating formula, maybe a little bit radiant if you can see it right here. But yeah, the shade match just hasn't been great. but it is another really good one. I also really enjoy this one from Judy Doll. It's their concealer in 01, which is the second lightest shade. They have a 00. This is yellow. It leans on the yellow side for me. But this is another one that's really light, kind of buildable coverage, and it is very thin. I do enjoy this. This is not a bad concealer, but it's very similar to the Moira. I'm just trying to decide like if I want to keep this. I kind of think that I don't need the Judy Doll and like how yellow it looks on my under eyes. Like, I just have other formulas that I feel like are better shade matched for me, and I feel like it's okay if I let that one go because it looks so yellow and obviously yellow and less of a workable formula. And I feel like I would definitely rather keep the Moira, so I just ignore this a lot. There's just no sense in holding on to it if I'm gonna continue ignoring it, and I kind of know that. So I am holding on to 13 different concealers and or color correctors, which I still feel like this is a lot. The thing is, there was one point where I probably had 30 concealers, and so to only be holding on to 13 and 3 of these being color correctors, I don't know, it feels pretty good. It feels like a pretty minimal collection for me, especially if you've seen like my other categories, especially blush. All right, I've got like 250 different individual blushes. All right, holding on to 13, and I am getting rid of 7 different concealers. Whew. So 50% of the current collection. What does that make it? 25% of what I started with? Somewhere around there, right? So that actually feels really good, and I have places to pass these along to. I mean, I've used them all, so I can't really donate them. It's not brand new, but I will be passing those along. Now I will go ahead and grab the foundations, and we'll just kind of like randomly pull those out and swatch them. All right, I did forget one concealer. This is the Lancome Serum Concealer. This is actually my favorite concealer. I totally forgot, and I don't know why. Probably just because it wasn't in front of my face. The reason that I didn't have this up here is because it was in my travel makeup bag. Believe it or not, I ended up getting sick while we were on vacation. That's ironic. Anyway, this is very light coverage, but it's also very serum-like, very thin, the most thin. This is probably too deep of a shade for me, but I think because it's such light coverage that it does blend in really nicely. It's just the light serum concealer, lightweight serum concealer of my dreams. Lancome-based products tend to work for me pretty well. This is in 220 Cool. It is a very cool tone shade, which I, in fact, really enjoy. It's just a little bit too deep for me, but again, I do make it work. So surprisingly, you can't see like the dent that I've made in this, but I wear this concealer the absolute most, and then it would be the Laura Mercier is the second most used concealer in my collection. Now let's go ahead and work on like my high-end foundations and skin tints. I don't have very many skin tints at all. It's just not like a category that I love. There are some that I want to pare down, so let's get into it. My favorite ever skin stick foundation is from Dior. This is the only one that I've ever found that works like extremely well on me. It's not one that lasts super duper long in the humidity and when I'm sweating, but I'll tell you what, it's literally the best looking medium coverage skin stick that I've ever had that does in fact last long and wears really well instead of being like more on the chalky and dry side and tends to look dry and cakey as the day carries on. It's just a very natural finish. It blends into the skin really well. It's quite genuinely like silk. When I swipe this onto my face and then use a brush to apply it, it like blends in like so perfectly. It looks very, very silky on the skin. This one is in the shade 1N. It's called the Forever Skin Perfect stick, I think, stick foundation. Anyway, this is absolutely fabulous. I can't wear this in the summertime because it really doesn't last very long at all, like through sweat and humidity. It's not a stick that does well when it's hot outside, but it does really well. When I first got this, it was kind of like, it was definitely cooler. There wasn't a crap ton of humidity, so it works well in conditions like that. So I'm definitely holding on to this one. One of my favorite foundations, if you guys have ever heard me talk about the Lancome Tantidol Ultra Wear Care and Glow, this is a really whipped foundation, but it's lightweight. It blends in. It's a very like natural matte finish. It's in 105W you ask me why I got that shade, and I'll tell you I don't know. But the shade does work for me. I don't think that it's too warm. If you guys saw me just now, like it is kind of a whipped texture, but for whatever reason, it works so well as like a long-lasting natural matte finish. It just blends in and looks very blurring on the skin. I just shook it up, but it's like halfway done. I haven't reached for it a lot. Here, you can kind of see like the color change right there. So yeah, it's about halfway done. I've been trying some of my other foundations a lot recently and like kind of backing off this one. Not that it's not good, it's just I'm trying to give love to some of my other ones that don't have as much usage, and so I haven't reached for this one that much in 25, but it's still an absolute favorite of mine. It's definitely one that I go to when I'm like, I need to look pretty. I need my foundation to look good today. It's not caring and glowing at all. Like it, you guys see the swatch right here? It's a very natural matte finish. So the Tawny Dole that isn't the Care and Glow, I've tried that foundation and it's supposed to be like more matte, and I found that it was like a little bit drying on me. So maybe that's what they kind of mean by like Care and Glow, but it's more of a natural finish. You know, it's not like dewy on me or anything. So I know the description here doesn't exactly call it like a natural matte finish, but that's what it looks like on me. So one of my favorites, I'm definitely holding on to that. This is a repurchase for me, the Pure 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie Longwear Foundation and Concealer. This one is in the shade LN6. This is one that I had a long time ago in like 2020, probably like 5 years ago, back when I had really dry skin. This is another like more full coverage whipped foundation. It's even more full coverage than the one from Lancome, but this is a foundation that now that my skin is combo, it works really well. It's very full coverage. It's a good complexion product, I think. As a concealer, it even has like, you know, the kind of doe foot also, so you can pump it and do it like this, like the Makeup by Mario bronzer. I find that very convenient. I do wear this as a concealer too, and I think it looks just fine on my under eyes. I think the shade's too dark for me. I definitely went up a little too high in this. I can make it work, I guess. This is definitely a foundation that is meant for like oily combo skin. So yeah, it's just one that I've rediscovered that I absolutely love. I'll like try and like show you guys before I shake them up like how much use they have on them, because that's really what I've been trying to do is use a lot of my favorites and honestly just pass along the ones that aren't. I don't want to have a bad foundation day, and I don't want to collect just to collect, so I'm holding on to that one. This is also a repurchase from Estee Lauder, the Double Wear Stay in Place foundation in the shade 1N0 Porcelain. This is a better shade match for me than the one I had previously, but again, another repurchase from when I first tried it, probably back in 2021 maybe, where I had much more dry skin. And even though it worked at the time, I think that it was probably like a dry down that isn't best suited for maybe somebody with such dry skin like I used to have. I think this is definitely a foundation for more normal combo skin. It's really lightweight formula, you know, unlike the Tawny Dole and the Pure, which is a more whipped texture, which typically is not my favorite, even when it comes to a liquid foundation. Definitely not when it comes to a concealer, but I think the reason that it can work for people with dry skin, even though maybe it's not like intended to be something that's made for people with dry skin, it's long wearing, but it's not drying. So this is a really good one, kind of a unique formula, I think, in the market. I think there are a couple out there that are similar to this, but you know, maybe not so many versatile kind of full coverage foundations. So this one I'm definitely holding on to. This one here is probably one of my only skin tints remaining. I don't know if you can see like how much I've used this, but this is one of my absolute favorite skin tint products in my collection. I love this. I know that this didn't get like a shit ton of hype when it first came out, but I think it's absolutely stunning. It's a very natural finish on the face. It is SPF 50, which really is nice. This is gonna expire 11/25, so I only have a couple more months with it, and I've probably used about half of this. Like when it first launched, I was using it like crazy, and I just took it on our vacation too, specifically because we were out in the sun all freaking day. This is kind of a more radiant coverage. It's like a barely there kind of coverage, but when I am out and about to even my skin tone, and I don't want to like be full glam, I don't want a full coverage foundation, but I definitely don't want to just like walk out with nothing, and I know I'm going to be spending time in the sun, like an SPF 50 is definitely what I want, and I'm already going to be wearing like sunscreen underneath. I was using a sunscreen setting spray, and I was using this, and yeah, it's not the most long wearing or the most coverage ever, but it wears really beautifully. It just kind of has that really like glossy, like natural looking finish. I love that it's an SPF of 50. Anyway, this one is in 20C, which is a really nice cool tone shade. Like, just see how natural and like beautiful that looks. So that I absolutely love and I'm holding on to. All right, I have two products from Huda Beauty. I recently picked up the Huda Beauty and this was like already pretty used at the time that I got it. It's the Faux Filter Luminous Matte, and the reason that I picked this up is because it's a luminous matte and that's kind of what I'm going for, you know? Like, I don't like a super dry matte finish. I think all of the foundations that I've shown you are not like a super stark harsh matte, so I thought that I would really enjoy this, and I do, but I got it in a terrible shade, Shortbread 200B. It's very dark on me, so I do have a mixer in here that I was mixing with it. This is a very whipped full coverage foundation. It just got chunky on me, so let me get that off. It's very blurring and very smoothing on the skin. It's just not a good shade match. I mean, you can see just how deep it is, like even compared to like the shade that does work for me in the Easy Blur, the foundation mixing pigment. It works really well with that, so I've held on to it and I'm making that shade work. I'm so mad that I just got foundation on this thing because it's never gonna go away. Okay, I got it off and I'm sure that'll dry really fast because it's hot up here. I've always said that I didn't want to use this because it changes the finish of a foundation. I totally still stand by that. The thing is though, I think it is more of a matte finish. So if you're gonna use something like this to customize your shade, I think that you're probably better off doing it for a foundation that is like a little bit more mattifying, because that's what I feel like this foundation is. It doesn't not have its own texture. See how it's like on the dry side? So I think it's better to mix in with something that's matte. I don't think you can do that with something that's more luminous or dewy or whatever, and it's not gonna change the formula. I 100% will think it will change the finish. So while these might be good, it's not without changing the formula. So, you know, these aren't great for everything. Like, this is not something that I would want to mix in with something like this. It would make this a much more matte, like full coverage product, and I'm not interested in doing that. So definitely okay for a product like this, and that's why I have been using it. So anyway, that I am absolutely keeping because I just picked it up and I do think it works well. I use it for one other product too, and I'll show you. It's pretty damn full coverage though, and I find that it lasts pretty much all day. I mean, that's pretty much what I'm looking for in terms of some of my favorite foundations. I need them to be pretty long wearing because I don't touch up ever. The Easy Blur foundation, the natural airbrush foundation, I think is good for like folks who have dry to normal skin. This one is in Shortbread 200. So I actually think this is a really old product and it's oxidized a lot because these are the exact same shades. And that is exactly why I bought this one, because this normally would be a shade for me. But I ended up getting this on like the Kohl's website, I think, and it was like highly discounted. I want to say somebody even returned this is how I feel about it. And that's why there was like product missing. So I don't know what the hell Kohl's is thinking or how long they've had this in their stock and just some of it evaporated, but it's not that old. I just got that like, I don't know, 5 months ago, 4 months ago. Anyway, this one is in the correct shade. So whatever I said before, I did right by myself. It's oxidized. Wait till you see this swatch. Now this is like a really good one for, like I said, people with like normal to dry. Like, look, that's my shade, right? I like this. I think it's smoothing. I think it's blurring. You know, the thing is, I just got done saying like, I need something that's more long lasting and full coverage. And even though this is like decent or whatever, it does not last long on me at all. It fades off. It fades off like gracefully, but it's just not a long wear foundation. So it is one that I am going to pass along because I don't want to hold on to things for collection purposes. And because I'm not a toucher upper, everything that I keep is going to end up being somewhat long wearing. All right, this one's getting on the old side. The Christian Louis Vuitton foundation, Les Fluid de Ton foundation in, I think it's 15C, Rosy Nude. It's not a bad shade necessarily, but it's maybe a little bit deep. This is a very whipped full coverage foundation, but it's like more hydrating than the Huda Beauty. I would say this is like a luminous matte too. So really good immediately out of the gate, because by the time I tried this, I already had combo skin. I do not reach for this that much. I could, I should, I probably will. I have some other ones that I like the finish of of them a little bit more. They look a little bit more natural on my face than this one does, and that's kind of the reason that I don't grab for this one as much as I do. But I love Christian Louis Vuitton. I have handbags. Some of my purses are from Christian Louis Vuitton. Like if I had more money or more interest in spending the same amount of money or more money on less products, I would get more from this line, but I don't. But I did want to try their complexion product. I'm holding on to that. This is a new one and one of my absolute favorite foundations currently, the Skin Plumping Line Smoothing Foundation, the Forget the Filler from Lawless. This one I also think was like a return because it's busted and some of the product was missing when it got sent to me, but this is a new release, so I don't know how that happened unless it was just like some had leaked out. Actually, that's right, it had made a mess when it arrived. This is another luminous matte foundation that's long wearing. This one is not as like a whipped texture as some of the other ones, but it's a very similar consistency. This one is in the shade 2F. Even 2F, I feel like I could have gone down a shade. It still works, but it's maybe a tad bit dark for me, but I don't feel like I need to use the LA color with this one. This is pretty long wearing. It is very smoothing on the skin. It breaks down nicely. One of my favorites right now. Another new one that's one of my favorites is the one from ABH. This is called something pretty similar, the Blurring Second Skin Matte Foundation, the Impeccable 1CR. This is also a decent shade match for me too. This is another one that's very similar to the Lawless, which is like blurring, but like a luminous matte. I think it's a luminous matte. I mean, this one and the Lawless, they're almost identical. The Lawless is a little bit of a lighter weight formula than this one from ABH, but I feel like they're both very blurring. They just look very similar on the skin, honestly. So I absolutely freaking love this one. These two were two of my absolute favorites for 2025. I put them in my best of beauty video and I stand by it. Like I still grab for these like both a lot. All right, this one here is the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. You know, surprisingly, oh, I just shook it, but it's about half gone. I didn't love this when I first got it is what I started to say. This one's in Deauville. It was not, I think, meant for someone with dry skin, and that's when I had it. But guys, I've had this for so long. I think it's oxidized. It's also like a little yellow too in Deauville. Like I definitely like something cooler toned on my skin, and this is a little bit more warm. Now, this is a lightweight formula, but is also like a natural matte finish. And I think that like people with like normal combo skin were really enjoying this. I don't think it's like a bad foundation for people with dry skin, but I will tell you, like when I had it, I was like, okay, I kind of like it sometimes and I kind of don't like it sometimes. It wasn't until like my skin really changed to be combo that I really started enjoying this a lot more, and I think that's really because it's a luminous matte foundation. Like no one describes it that way, but that's how I feel about it. It's not dewy, not on my skin, and never was, and I think that when my skin was dry, it was even drying on my skin. So anyway, I've just had it for so many years, and I have others that I really enjoy. That one can tend to look heavy on my skin too. Like even though it was lightweight, like I have a tendency maybe to go overboard with this. I definitely noticed that this can look heavy and thick on my face, even though it's not dry. Because it's like one of the oldest foundations in my collection, this just has to go. Like I don't even reach for this anymore, and I have too many. This is one I can say goodbye to. This one from Charlotte Tilbury, not to be cliche or anything, but it's literally one of my favorites. The Airbrush Flawless Foundation, and this one's in the shade 3 Neutral. You know, it's been beat out, I will say, by the ABH and the Lawless at the current moment, but like this is up there. This is top tier. It's lightweight, it's full coverage. It's again what I would consider a natural matte. It's not too harsh. You don't need a ton of product. I would say that this tends to be a little bit on the warm side for me in this shade in 3 Neutral. This oxidizes on me though, so like it tends to get darker on my face as I continue to wear it, where a lot of my other foundations like won't necessarily do that. It definitely oxidizes like pretty quickly. Anyway, this is just gorgeous. This is just a very blurring medium to full coverage foundation, and it's not very dissimilar to like these two, to be totally honest with you, or even this one. I mean, a lot of them just like have very similar properties. All right, this is also a fairly new one to me, the Kiko Milano Full Coverage 2-in-1 Foundation, and this one is in the shade N10. This one has a doe foot style because it's a 2-in-1. It's a foundation and a concealer, and it's maybe a tad bit not the right shade for me, but I feel like I can make it work. This is another one that I feel like is another luminous matte. This works really well because it's a very thin formula. It's not whipped like the ABH, the Lawless, and the Charlotte, and even the Lancome. I mean, a lot of those are like whipped, which is really weird because I used to hate whipped foundations. This one is much thinner than that, but this one has extremely good lasting power. It locks on my face and like doesn't move. It's one of the best long lasting foundations in my collection. And you know what? I've been wanting to try this because the full coverage 2-in-1 that always like sounded appealing to me. I don't know why. The doe foot style, like I always saw this on Ulta's website and thought I was gonna get it, and when I did, I was like, why did I wait so long? Kind of one of those situations. It is so freaking beautiful on my skin. It looks so natural, but like so full coverage, so I'm definitely keeping that. This one from Ciel, the Tint and Protect SPF 50 Tinted Serum. This did not work for me at all. This comes with like a dropper style. You know, I don't even like tinted serums, even though I like lightweight, you know, if you can build it up, or even if it's not like a crap ton of coverage, you know, I have a purpose for those. It's just that this breaks apart on me. I don't know what it is. It's like a tackier formula that like, I guess doesn't mix well with maybe my sweat. Like, I don't know what else to say. I will break the crap out of this. This just isn't a formula that lasts on my particular skin. It tends to just start breaking apart around the sweaty parts of my face, and it's unfortunate because I love the SPF aspect of it, and I like a lot of like Ciel products, and I kind of just like this brand in general, but yeah, it does not work for me. I don't know if it's the zinc oxide that I'm breaking up. This one is 02 Fair. Like, I'm not sure what is in here that doesn't agree with like my skin personally, but something doesn't, so I'm gonna pass that along. All right, this one from Chanel, the Ultra Laiton Ultra Wear All Day Comfort Flawless Finish Foundation, really long name, and B10. This one is fabulous, and it's not terribly dissimilar to like the Lawless and the ABH and the Charlotte. It's a natural matte finish foundation, more on the medium to full coverage side, and kind of a whipped consistency also. Wow, the shade is not like perfect for me, clearly. But yeah, a little bit of product goes a really long way. It's not too drying, it's more full coverage. The only thing I don't absolutely love about this is the scent. Otherwise, it's absolutely gorgeous. So that one I'm holding on to. This one from Urban Decay is a repurchase for me. I had a shade 6 that was not good. This one is in Fair Cool. You know, I didn't get the LA Girl Pro Color Foundation mix until after I decluttered the shade 6. And honestly, like, I would have used that with this foundation had I known like what kind of formula the LA Girl was. If I had known that it's kind of like a drier, matter, full coverage, this is definitely a better shade match. That 6 was like warm, it didn't look good. This is a drier self-setting product, so definitely better for people with combo to oily skin in my opinion. Definitely not something I would recommend to anybody with like normal or dry skin. It's really good. It's not as much coverage, I would say, as like the other ones that I've been talking about. You know, I just like, I have them sitting here. Like, these are definitely like more full coverage than this is for me personally. It is nice. It's nice enough of the kind of things that I'm wearing that I wanted to get a shade that worked. But again, I think this would have been fine of a formula to mix in with this had I known that that was going to be kind of more like a matte coverage foundation mixer. So that one is going to stay. All right, this one from Hourglass is the Ambient Soft Glow Foundation, and this one is in the shade Ambient 3. I really dislike this. You know, I tried this back when I had dry skin, and a lot of people with dry skin that I saw wearing or doing wear tests with this were saying that it was like decent, and then I hated it, and I thought, you know what, now that I am more combo skin, not more, I am combo skin from when I tested this, like maybe this is something that I'll end up liking. No, it's so dry eventually throughout the day. It does not look good like around the drier parts of my face. It just looks super dry. I don't wears terribly well. It doesn't have like the best finish on it. I think I would describe this probably like a satin or luminous matte finish too, so that's why I ended up repurchasing it. Plus it was like 25 bucks on Ipsy's website. Just doesn't work on my skin. Again, you know, there are certain formulations, like with whatever they're based with, they may not work with your oils. Your oils may break them apart, and that's just like, it's not determining whether a foundation is good or not. It's like, are my oils compatible with this particular formula? And sometimes they're just not. So it's just not a foundation that it works for me now and worked for me then. So I'm gonna pass this along. All right, the Milk Hydro Grip Gel Tint in the shade 3. You know, I talked about this. It's not the worst thing ever, but it also does not wear well. It looks beautiful going on. And even for being a sticky formula, it still goes on really beautifully. There's a lot of properties about this that I would say don't typically work for me. By the way, 3 is a pretty peachy shade. It's pretty cool tone. The gel part, not something that I typically like. Usually my oils break this apart. It doesn't usually sit on my face very well. Like, it doesn't matter like if I have anything on underneath or not. I could go bare face or I could just use my normal skincare. Usually products like this don't work, but it does. It goes on very beautiful and it's a decent amount of coverage. It's very glossy, which is cool. You know, it reminds me a lot of the Supergoop. It's just that the Supergoop wears better. This doesn't wear well. As I, you know, sweat and do all the stuff that I'm doing, then it starts to break down and look absolutely awful. So it's good for a short period of time. It's just not good for a long period of time. So I don't love this as the day carries on. In fact, it's like something that I'm like, ooh, God, get it off. It's not a good product for longevity for me. All right, this one from Prada, I've used actually quite a bit. I decided not to shake it so you can kind of see right here, called the Reveal Foundation, and it's in the shade LN15. This canister is removable. This is a luminous matte foundation and it has been one of my favorites in my collection since I got it. It's definitely getting on the older side, but this is another whipped consistency luminous matte foundation. They're all gonna be the same at this point. The only one that I have that's like slightly different so far is the Supergoop. I mean, honestly, that's what works best for me at the current moment. And I tell you what, it wasn't always like that. I used to have to use very lightweight, like dewy foundations. Like, you give me a luminous matte and I was gonna look like a dry baked bread. It was not going to be good. I don't know what made me think of that comparison or analogy, but it did. Anyway, luminous matte, beautiful. I think this is a cool tone shade too in, what did I say, LN15? I mean, I think for the money, the canister, like, it's kind of cheap, you know, and then the fact that this is like plastic, but it is removable, so you can just buy the canister again. Another favorite of mine, I gotta say. It's just not as long wearing as like all of the other ones. If it lasted longer, I'd probably reach for it a ton. It's also like pretty heavily scented, which I do not love. All right, the final one in this bin right here is a new one to me, and I haven't even put it in a speed reviews yet, but it's not new to the market. It's the Makeup Forever HD Skin Foundation, and this one's in the shade 1N14. You know, this one's a little bit different. It's not like a whip texture. It's a much thinner foundation. This is way too yellow, so like these two, I have these sitting together. Like, I use these two together all the time and it works. This is more of like a natural finish and not like a natural matte finish. It's not as harsh as the other ones, but I still really like it. I don't think this is gonna move up to my favorite just because it's not as long wearing as all the other ones I was showing you. Like, that's pretty much it. It's very beautiful on the skin for a short period of time. And honestly, I prefer the mixing fluid, or pigment rather, with the Huda Beauty one than I do this one. I would prefer that this be in a better shade for me than mixing these two together, because I think it like detracts from like how beautiful this can be. But again, probably not something that I need to repurchase a different shade, because it's not super long lasting. And I guess here's the again part, which is I'm mostly reaching for things that are pretty long lasting. I live in a hot, humid climate. I never touch up my makeup, and I'm combo skin. So anyway, I am gonna hold on to this because it hasn't gone into a speed reviews yet. And that's it for the high-end foundations, you guys. So far we've decluttered 5. Let me go ahead and grab my more affordable foundations. And this is the last of them too. So these are all of my more affordable ones. Let's move this over. All right, I have 3 from e.l.f. and honestly, I don't know why I ended up getting 2 shades. I think because these were $8 and the Soft Glam Satin Foundation. I have hated e.l.f. complexion products aside from the Flawless Satin Foundation that is now discontinued. I have hated them because all of the Camo CC line, terrible on me. Thick, gross, dry, doesn't look good even with combo skin. So I wasn't sure which one would work, but they both work because they're both in shades that I typically buy. 20 Light Cool and Fair Neutral. Now this was one of the first, actually the only one after the Flawless Satin Foundation that worked for me, and I was like, oh, I'm head over heels that this worked. And I think that this is a really good lighter weight formula that they don't typically do often. I feel like most of their foundations have been like whipped and dry, like I had mentioned before. Even their concealers, I do not find work. This is supposed to be a medium buildable, long-lasting formula, and it's like a satin finish. It did end up replacing this, which I think is an absolute shame because they're not like the same formula. It's just kind of one of those things where I think a product sits for so long, you got to discontinue it, you know, if it just like doesn't have enough popularity, and put something out there that's new, because new things tend to sell just because they're new. These are both beautiful, they just don't wear super long, and that's the only reason that I don't reach for these more often, is because they just don't have really long lasting power. So I'm gonna declutter both of these. Not that they're bad, it's just it's not my preferred formulation. Not formulation, but like the fact that it's not super long lasting. That's really why I'm gonna part with both of those. Now this one, oh, this one pains me. It's also a satin finish foundation. This one is like one of the first foundations, even when I had dry skin, that was whipped, that I could wear, that looked like, oh, just a flawless satin finish. But it is so freaking old, and I had this in my project pan. It took a while after the Soft Glam came out for them to finally like pull this from the shelves. They still had it for a while, but honestly, it's so old, but it was so beautiful. This has always been like a little bit too deep of a shade for me, by the way. And I have it in the shade 210 Bisque, which was previously the shade Natural, which is supposed to be neutral undertones, where I think it was always like on the warm side. But do you see how it's like a luminous matte? So like it was exactly what I reached for in all my other foundations. So yes, project pan, now it's like down here. You can see that it's like old, and I'm just like debating on whether or not this is like good to put on my skin still, and I haven't been reaching for it all that much. I think it's time to part with it, and because it's discontinued. It sucks because like something like this that was honestly like a holy grail, and because it still exists in my life, like why do I want to get rid of it? After a certain period of time, you just probably shouldn't be putting like liquid formulas like on your face like this when you've had something for 4 years. I'm gonna part with it. It's gonna go. This one from About Face, the Performer Foundation. This one is in the shade L1 Cool. I kind of always thought this was a little bit more peachy than cool. I hate to say it. Also, this doe foot, oh, it does get stuck in there. Like it kind of grips the side a little too much. See how it's like peachy? Yeah, I always thought it was like on the warm side. I think this is a good shade range, but I don't think the undertones are right. I never did. Probably never said that enough, but it's definitely peachy. So Skin Focused Foundation. It's really good. It's beautiful on the skin. It is lightweight. It's light, medium buildable coverage, but it has no benefits of an SPF, and it's just not long lasting. And while I think this is a beautiful product, I think it's made for someone who has more dry to normal skin, and not to say that this isn't a product that you could really enjoy if you have combo to oily skin, because I do. The problem for me is I don't reach for it because I know it's not long enough lasting. So I skip over it all the time because I would just rather reach for something that's longer lasting. So I am going to pass that one along. I have the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless. This one is in the shade 112 Natural Ivory. I wish I had a pump for these ones that have this. This is very similar to the concealer, even though it's like the matte and poreless version. It's super similar to the Maybelline Fit Me, that it's like this runny, very lightweight, like very serum-like product that has a natural finish. The Maybelline Fit Me concealer is literally called a natural finish concealer, and that's how I feel about this, even though they call it matte and poreless. So this is a really good product. It's not as long lasting though as my more long-lasting foundations. It's still good, and I still want to hold on to it. It's fairly new in my collection. I mean, it's been out a really long time, but I like recently picked it up. There's a couple of other Maybelline foundations that I was like testing recently, and a couple of new ones, and I was like, oh my gosh, I should try the matte and poreless, because I had the dewy and smooth for so long until it really got old. I had it for probably again like 4 years before I decluttered it, so I wanted to test this one, and this one's good. Again, just not as long-lasting as the other ones that I've been talking about, so not one that I reach for super duper frequently, and it may not make the cut like next foundation declutter that I do, just because there are others that are more full coverage. But speaking of the other Maybelline foundations, I have the Super Stay, that's the 30-hour wear Lumi Matte foundation, and then I have the sport version. There you go, it's called Active Wear. Like, did they need both of these? The Super Stay and the Super Stay Active Wear? They literally perform identically. This is a new release, this is not a new release. Now, This is a really good product, but these pumps like this is my second one that was manufactured with this same pump like this. You cannot take these off. They spin around, but they don't come off. And so if I break it, it's donezo. The NYX one that I had also broke on me. So this one, it needs to be decluttered, but like I already have this, so I don't feel bad about it. This is a really good one too. I'm wondering, did this go into my Best of Beauty for like last year? Or maybe it went in for this year. This one's in the shade 115. I think this is a little bit deep for me, but I can make it work. But Luminous Matte, so good. Not as long lasting because it's a thinner formula, I think, than some of my other ones, but man, it's definitely up there in terms of like how it performs with a lot of the other of my favorite foundations. The L'Oreal Infallible 32-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation in the shade 410 is decent. I will say it is not as long lasting as some of the other ones. It's lightweight and it's medium buildable coverage. It's also a luminous matte if you ask me. All of these foundations, they're just not very dissimilar from one another. This is not a favorite of mine because of the longevity. The finish is okay, but the finish isn't like spectacular. It's not the most blurring and smoothing on my skin compared to some of the other ones. I got this for a video that I did on foundations. It was probably like last year, summertime, so I've probably had this a year, and honestly, I haven't reached for it in so long, so I'm gonna pass it along. This one from Catrice is the HD Liquid Coverage Foundation in the shade 010 Light Beige. This is also a repurchase. I bought this again for that video after I got Combo Skin. This is such a good freaking product. It's very lightweight, but also more medium to full coverage. I'd say leans more on the full coverage side, but it's also like a luminous matte. They're all the dang same. It's just what works for me. So dropper style I don't absolutely love, but yeah, I liked this when I had dry skin, but then I thought, you know what, I decluttered it because it wasn't the most ideal for dry skin. And then when I thought about what foundations were really beautiful that almost worked, but were a little bit too drying and a little bit too full coverage back in the day when I had dry skin that I could repurchase that would be really great. And this one came to mind, and this retails for $10. It's supposed to be mattifying water and sweat proof with niacinamide. I don't think it lasts up to 24 hours, but nothing lasts up to 24 hours. Anyway, it's luminous matte, really good coverage, and it lasts all day. All right, here's an off one that a lot of people didn't like. The NYX Buttermelt Glaze Soft Glow Skin Tint with SPF 30 in whipped butter. Listen, I have a place for these type of things. Here we go, Super Goop, okay? They're not that different. This has a scent and it's like glossier and maybe even less coverage than the Super Goop, but not by much. A terrible shade range probably, because I think it offers a little bit more coverage than zero. And you know, when you have like 10 shades in the line, I never think that's gonna be enough. I like this though. I just think it looks really good for the purposes of what I use it for. It's got a glossy finish and it's more like a sunscreen than anything else, you know? That's kind of what I like. To even out my skin tone, but giving me mostly SPF if I'm walking around. I would prefer to use something like this as opposed to like just a concealer all over the face that doesn't offer that SPF. So I really enjoy this. I used this a bunch. This, like, I don't know, it's got like half gone. These two are the only ones so far that I kind of enjoy with this like very minimal coverage that's just natural, that just evens out my skin tone. I don't hate it. This is 93% skincare ingredients, and then it has mango and shea butter in it as well. So that might irritate some people also because it's like scented, and I try and stay away from things that are scented, but it's still beautiful. All right, the Revlon Illuminance Skin Caring Foundation. This is one of those foundations where I'm like, you lie. This is not illuminancing anything. It's in the shade 117, and that's the reason that I actually really liked it, because it's a really lightweight formula, but it's more medium coverage, and I think it's a more natural finish. So when this dries down, and it does dry down, it's more of a luminous matte. So if that's what they mean by illuminance, like it looks glowy, but man, does it dry down. It's so crazy how I feel like certain foundations, they don't exactly do what they say. Like something like this, that's like 12-hour wear, and I'm like, bullshit, I can't even get 6. 30-hour wear, I can maybe get 6. Where it looks like untouched, you know, like fresh. Part of the reason that I really enjoy products like this is because there's squalene in it. Squalene always reacts positively to my skin. It always makes my skin look blurred There's just something about squalene that I really enjoy. I mean, I don't dispute the fact that it looks pretty radiant and illuminating when it first goes on, but man, as the day goes on, this just kind of looks drier. Anyway, I'm putting it in the keep pile because this is a foundation I have recommended as a drugstore option for a lot of different skin types. I just want to try it again because it's been a minute, mostly because I reach for this one. Let me show you right here. Holy Grail drugstore status. This is half gone. This is the True Match Super Blendable Foundation in N1 Neutral Light. You can see how much I've used this. Like, I absolutely love this. It's not a super long lasting formula, but man, is it freaking pretty on the skin. I think that they're not terribly dissimilar. It's just that this looks better. I don't know. This is like more blurring than the Revlon Illuminance. And to be honest with you, it's not as dry as the Illuminance when it dries down. I freaking love this. It's a very beautiful, very natural looking, a very healthy looking foundation on the face. You know, this is like one of those that's like truly lightweight and blends in with, like, you could use your fingers to apply this. So definitely holding on to this, but that is the reason that I don't reach for this one as much. This one like has pearls, but it doesn't look pearly on my face. This is kind of one of those where I feel like it's a liar. When this finally sets down, it doesn't match the description for me. Quite honestly, I feel like that about the Revlon serum tint too. This is the Illuminance serum tint in the shade 113. This is drier. It's not extremely long lasting, but it's like a decent formula. It's very lightweight again, but man, when this dries down, it dries down. If it comes down to like this one versus the Illuminance, I 100% prefer this formula more. 113 is a better shade match than 117. I think it's just a little bit of a cooler tone. I never ended up falling in love with this when I initially tested it though. Like, I absolutely loved this. It says it expires in 2025, but doesn't even say a month. Oh, it does. It says August. So this expires this month. But yeah, I'm gonna pass this along or throw it away. All right, talk about luminous doo-doo. The L'Oreal Lumi Le Glow Tint in the shade 100 Cool. This came out this year and went in my worst of beauty. It's lightweight and it's pretty looking. It's just metallic. Loop. You know, the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip for me, it almost looks metallic like this too when it goes on. They're both like a gel consistency, but this one has so much pearls in it. It is very metallic on the face. The funny thing is, it actually goes on pretty nice. It actually doesn't wear terrible either. It's not a product that I hate. It's just not a product that I love. And so for that reason, it just doesn't serve like a long-term purpose for me. I just don't reach for things that look metallic. So I'm gonna let that one go. This one here from AOA Studio is the Soft Matte Foundation. It's called A20 Lab. This one's in the shade L1. This is so good for like $2. Like, stop it. It's lightweight, it's a soft matte, it has good lasting power, it's like medium to full coverage, and it's like a $2 foundation. I have used, I feel like a decent amount of this. I got this for like a full face of AOA Studio stuff. So I got this on Shop Miss A. Oh, this is so freaking good. I'm holding on to it. I need to wear that more often, honestly. All right, this one from Tier is the Mask Fit Red Cushion 21C Cool Ivory. When I first tried this, it was way full coverage, and I think this one is the not dewy version. It's not bad. I mean, I didn't like it without this puff. I just loved it with this puff, and I think it actually looks really pretty on the skin. This is a tricky one for me because a lot of people have said, oh my gosh, I love this with a sponge. I love this with a brush. Like, I love this with all sorts of different tools. I never found it work for me outside of using this. Never, not once. It never looked good with a sponge. It wasn't as full coverage. It wasn't as long lasting. A brush, it was maybe too full coverage. Like, I never got the right application outside of using this damn patty thing, whatever the hell this is. I mean, it's a sponge basically, but you know what? It's not a favorite formula of mine. It's not as blurring as some of my blurring ones. It's not one that I reach for. Yeah, it's not even as long lasting as some of my other ones. And because I find it extremely finicky with the whole, I must use this thing, and I don't like the way that I have to like pounce this into the skin. It's not like I can just rub it into the skin. yeah, that I don't love about it. I mean, I get it if some people don't have any issues getting it to look good. It's also like a very tacky formula. I just kind of feel like it feels tacky and sticky on my skin the ways that some of my other ones don't. So I'm okay. I never reach for it. I'm gonna pass it along. All right, this one I still haven't done in a speed reviews. It's the foundation stick from Essence, and this one is in the shade 140. You know, I'm trying not to spoil it, but it's not bad. It is not a bad foundation stick. I'm gonna say I think Essence did a pretty good job. It's a pretty good shade match too. It's pretty cool toned in this particular shade. I don't know what the description of it is, but yeah, I kind of do like this. It's just not super long wearing. So that tells you where it's probably gonna end up going, but I'm gonna hold on to this one because of the fact that it needs to go into a speed reviews. All right, the Revolution Skin Silk. Oh my gosh, this is like such a weird love of mine. This is the Luminous Serum Foundation in the shade F4. You know, I kind of think that this is like equivalent to the Armani like Luminous Silk Foundation. It is lightweight and serumy. Oh my gosh, does it look so good. I mean, don't mind this shade on my wrist. Like the lightest part of my whole body is like my inside of my arms and my legs. Maybe a little bit on the rosy side, but it looks so good on me. Guys, it is so pretty. I don't know how luminous it is other than being like a luminous matte. That's how I feel about it. But yeah, it's just like the Armani. It's really super lightweight. I think it was meant to be like a dupe for the Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. Oh, this is so good. Like, yeah, secret love of mine. Not long lasting at all, but I can't get over how beautiful it looks and how naturally it fades. So that one definitely stays. And the very last one here is the Blurring Skin Tint from CoverGirl, the SPF 30 Mineral Sunscreen in the shade 410 Fair Neutral. This is new. It's a new release and it's new to me, and so far I absolutely love it. It's not very long wearing, but like, do you see how thin it is? Such a thin formula, but it is a natural matte finish. For a skin tint, it's crazy that this is a natural matte finish and it dries down. It's just not overly long wearing. Light coverage soft matte finish is the description of this. It has SPF 30, you know, so I don't have a crap ton that has SPF. I have like maybe 4 in here that do. And the NYX, I want to say the Tanti Dole has SPF. Yeah, so the four that I had, the Lancome Tanti Dole is like the last one that has SPF in it that I've actually held on to. So for now, I'm definitely going to hold on to this. I will say it is very blurring on the skin. It is very beautiful. It is a very honestly perfect shade match in Fair Neutral. I think it even leans kind of on the like cooler side for a neutral foundation. I have not tried a ton from CoverGirl, and I think this was a really good release. So I do like having stuff with SPF in them. I just do. There are a time and a place where I don't need something super long lasting. All right, let's count up how many I kept and how many I am decluttering. All right, I'm keeping 25 different foundations. I am not calling the Pro Mixing pigment like a foundation. That's something that I keep as like an extra, so we'll not count that, but 25 is a lot. I might dwindle this down even more, as I was kind of like telling you, the Revlon Illuminance may not stay. CoverGirl Blurring Skin Tint, as I continue to wear it more, you know, will it be something where I go, okay, but I so much prefer the NYX and it's older, so I may keep it. I don't know. I just love testing and reviewing things. The Essence Skin Stick, you know, after I'm done reviewing it may not stay too. Like, there's definitely some things that that stay for various reasons outside of being absolutely perfect in my collection, or something that I wear all of the freaking time. So anyway, 25 foundations. Let's count up how many I am getting rid of. All right, 14. What would that make that? I'm terrible at math. I'm not a linear thinker like that. 14 foundations out of a drawer, going from almost 40 foundations down to 25. Spectacular. I feel so good about it. The only one I'm sad to see go is this little baby right here. Sad little baby. It's just time. It's just time. I have to say goodbye though. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to put these 25 foundations back. You guys saw the drawer that it's going back into, so I won't show you a close-up of that. I don't think I have the energy to set up the camera and do all that. But anyway, if you guys have any questions about any of the shades, please feel free to leave it in the comments and I will try and extract it either from the video or like come up and pull the shade if I forgot to mention it, if you guys are interested in knowing what it is. I do hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. I am out of here and I hope to catch you all in my next one. Bye guys.